Are you thinking about buying a home?
I'm thinking about it sometime next year. So
Okay.
I'm trying to get ahead of it.
Can I ask why you're waiting till next year?
I'm stuck in a rental.
Okay, you're stuck in a rental. What do you mean by stuck?
I just renewed my lease.
Okay. All right. Now, did you know that there are ways of breaking a lease?
Well, do tell.
Listen, sometimes it's as easy as asking, will you let me out of my lease?
I can ask. These people that I rented from, if you really want to hear something ridiculous,
Listen, I'm ready to hear it. Go ahead.
they threatened because they didn't like how I signed my lease agreement the second time.
Mm-hmm.
They threatened for me to either re-sign my lease agreement or they will give me a notice to vacate. So I told them to give me a notice to vacate because I'm still going to reserve my rights as I signed a lease agreement.
Mm-hmm.
I signed my name and I put all rights reserved. They didn't like it. They threatened to just give me a notice to vacate, which I'm fine with if they do so. I'm still waiting on that.
Mm-hmm.
So if they give me that, then free to go.
Well, listen, do you know Los Callahan on this app? Los Callahan?
I've seen him on the app
Okay.
before.
I spend a little time with him if I were you. And even if it costs you a couple of bucks to do a consultation, I would talk to him and he will tell you the law when it comes to signing contracts. And I don't know exactly what that law is. I've heard him talk about it, so I am not going to repeat it. But I'm almost sure that what you did was perfectly legal and they should accept it. They were trying to get you to change it by scaring you, but they should also know that what they're hoping for is that you don't know your rights. That's what they're hoping for. And if they can get you to change it by threatening you and you change it, great. But there may be a reason why you haven't heard from them. Because somebody told them what you did was perfectly legal.
Yes.
So I would talk to Los because, I mean, the guy does nothing but read.
Hey, Don.
Yes, go ahead. Is that coffee?
It is.
Listen, girl, I haven't heard your voice in so long.
How are you, Don?
I'm doing fine, girl. Talk to us. You got some insight into this thing?
Yes, let me tell you this. It really depends on where you reside, but most likely you will be able to list whatever you have as far as the agreement with a renter when you prove that you're purchasing. I went through something very similar here in Texas where they were trying to say I couldn't get out of my lease. The minute I said proof of purchasing a property showing that I was getting ready to buy a home, get the proof and to find out what the state says about it. And I was able to get out of it with no strings attached. And I basically told them to kiss my assets. So, it is a way to get out of it. They can't hold you to a renter's agreement when you're purchasing a home. Doesn't even make sense if you really kind of think about it. So definitely check with your housing authority and check your legal rights. You can do that very easily in the state where you reside to find out what the law says when you're purchasing and you're getting out of a lease. They can't hold you to a leasing agreement when you're in the midst of purchasing and you can prove it. You have to have the proof that you are purchasing. And once you close, you can walk out with no problem. You should be able to. That's one thing that is great about purchasing a property is that it does relieve you of having to be subjected to somebody who is another owner that has you bound to a renter's agreement. So you should be good. This is Coffee. That's my 2 cents, Don. Back to you.
Listen, folks, here's what I need everybody on the app to listen to and hear this. If you don't get this, you didn't hear anything today, but please get this. Do not let people dictate to you what your rights are. Find out what your rights are. And listen, don't ever, 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 ever accept no from someone who is not authorized to tell you yes. Never accept it. And here's the last piece, is Jesse. Never disqualify yourself. Bring all the experts you need to bear to find out for sure if what you can do is what you can do. But please do not disqualify yourself. You know how many people I have helped to go ahead and get their house sooner as opposed to later because they found out the truth of the matter as the situation applies to them. And they were able to accelerate the purchase of their home because they now found out we didn't have to wait.
They always try to trap you into whatever ideology they have in their heads as people who are, offering you somewhere to lease and rent and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, I mean, hell, if I could hold it over somebody's head and I were a landlord, think about the word landlord, I would hold it over their head too if they were oblivious to it. That's the problem, is that we're oblivious to the right details, like what you were saying, Donna. We have so much information at our disposal that we no longer have to be oblivious or ignorant to anything and get that information. And matter of fact, if I were you, I'd get the information and blast them on a Google review. I'm notorious for doing it. When I wanted to get out of my lease, they told me this. I went to the state said this. And I'm telling you, it adds value to somebody else, and it keeps them at bay when they try to do things like that to consumers. Because a lot of people they're just dirty and grimy, and they want your money. They want your money at any cost. And regardless of how it affects you and your livelihood and your future, they do not care about you as an individual human being. So definitely do what you have to do to take care of you.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been looking at properties because I plan to see them, just because, I invoked my right to reserve my rights, and they told me that I couldn't.
Well, if I didn't want you to do something, but you didn't know better, I'd tell you too. So
listen here.
Okay.
That's the truth, Don.
All right. So let me give you another quick example, and then I've got a question online. So I'll give you a quick example. I was in the hospital in Alabama, and then finding something out that was very strange. I was on a ventilator for 5 days. I didn't even know if I was going to come out. It was before COVID. This was back in 2017. I was on a ventilator for 5 days. Did you know my wife was there, and in Alabama, if we didn't have paper signed and I was incapacitated, did you know that it is not legal for her to make medical decisions for me as my wife unless we had paper signed saying that she could do that? Most people assume that your spouse can make those decisions for you. So here's what I'm saying, folks. When it comes to things that are legal, don't let people tell you what's really going on. Find out what is really going on for you, and then you will feel so much better. Research everything except nothing. Research everything and accept nothing that people tell you is the truth. Find out for yourself. That's all I got to say. All right, Miss Jessie, do you have any other questions for us today?
That is all. Thank you so much for your time.
You are so welcome.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.